to Tim or one of the guys in the back. Have the guys scan these in. Don't have Rob do or Jason do it because they're busy making a video map of one of the big FEMA facilities, and then the tent cities where they're forcing them out to the FEMA facility, so that this all dovetails. It's coming up at the next segment in about 15 minutes. They'll be with us till the end of the show. I know we got loaded phone lines. We're going to go to Mark, Taylor, and Mike right now. Just so much is breaking so fast. Give that to Aaron Dykes, and then just tell him to post it, and he'll hear me talk about it. But just basically, a truck driver went and picked him up at the factory making them, and then took him to another facility, and it's outside. It's not Georgia. And that's all we can say. I'm going to see if I can get the truck driver to come on and say more, but he doesn't want to. So, Tommy Cryer, I mean, it's like a war room in here every day. There's just so much happening.
Yeah, and it's accelerating. And that's why we have to accelerate. That's why we have to, Truth Attack has a comprehensive plan. We need funding for a lot of it, but, that we can't implement yet, but we've got a lot going on. We've managed to finally pick up Liberty Works Radio Network. That'll be kicking on mid-April already, going on the air. I want to personally, by the way, invite Infowars and you, Alex, to become Truth Attack Alliance members of the media sector of Truth Attack's network.
Sure. Is that Liberty Works Network that I was on a decade ago with John Kottmeyer?
Yes, sir, but it's coming up. It's going to be all true liberty. It's not going to be entertainment. It's going to be truth. And it's going to have every sector of the freedom movement will be represented on that. It's coming up. We're going on the air, and I can't say exactly where just yet because the last time we had something lined up, the government stepped in, and the two stations we had we were going to acquire ran for the tall grass.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Kottmeyer...
the deal in the middle. It was ready to be signed, and they backed off without...
Yeah, well, Kottmeyer's the real deal. He got me on, at the height of it, 20 stations, and I mean big ones.
Kottmeyer's been working very hard on this for the last year and a half, 2 years, trying to revive the network, and we're going to fire it up April 15th. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Truth Attack will have a drive time show every afternoon of the week, and there'll be a lot of other entertainment. DB Kid's going to be on there. You know how wonderful she is. And it wouldn't be a bad thing for Alex Jones to be on that network, too.
Well, I know Ted's always happy to do that, so if you call Ted, he'll be happy to have the show carried.
For once, the freedom movement is starting to act together and fold those fingers up into a fist. It's been easy to break our fingers, but when you roll them up into a fist, it gets, not only is it hard to break them, but you can start breaking things with that fist. And I've never seen the kind of activity that we've seen this year. Truth Attack has gotten a huge response from across the freedom movement, not just tax honesty issues people, but libertarian people, Constitutional Party people, education people. They all see the value in cutting off the roots of the tree.
Absolutely. Tommy, we're almost out of time. Fire out the website again. We're going to take 3 calls.
It's truthattack.org, and you can get on there, register for Operation Stop Thief, and receive your free mat pack and free signs if you can get in this week. Next week we won't be able to send out anything but the materials packages but it's all free. We've supplied the signs. We ship them.
And again, and you go out to the post offices as the slaves go into Pharaoh to pay their firstborn, basically.
Absolutely, and they have a blast, Alex. I mean, these guys write back, and they're talking about how much fun they're having.
It's fun to fight back. It's fun to stand up.
We push it in the instructions. We're not freedom fighters. We're freedom lovers, and we're celebrating because this is a big step forward.
Hey, we get to be part of the Second American Revolution. We don't have a choice. We got to fight the globalists. We're having huge success. Everybody should be more positive, and this is a big part of the solution. Let's take 3 calls that are specifically for you, then I'll get to everybody else. Mark in Texas, thanks for holding her on the air with Tommy Cryer, who beat the IRS. Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Cryer and Mr. Jones, or Alex, thank you for your time. I'm glad to be with y'all, and I have a book from a fellow back in 1960s. His name is Norman F. Dacey. He was a probate, a will and estates person. He was helping people, and he just exposed the whole corrupt system of the judges, lawyers, the whole. And his statement in the beginning of his 2nd chapter of calling probate the ugly side, he said, "Woe unto you lawyers, for you have taken away the not in yourselves, and them that were entering in you hindered." And I saw that the first paragraph, it says, in most areas of this country, the probate procedure is a scandal, a form of tribute levied by the legal profession upon the estates of its victims, both living and dead. And it mentioned many of people that were kids that were disabled, and these corrupt people were just constantly taking their money. And I haven't researched all of this significantly. My expertise is in the natural health field for about 20 years, and that was the reason was my original call. But when I noted that y'all were talking about this, when I got little bits of the call when I had my other line, I figured, well, I'd ask a question and see what the fellow here thought about. And I had one other. Okay,
well, I'm gonna let you go because we don't have a lot of time. But specifically, Mr. Cryer, yes, they have this estate tax. And they have the probate, and the lawyers half the time end up, and the state as well, stealing all the money.
Well, not exactly. You could make a case for that because you could take exceptions. I've probably handled 400, maybe even 500 estates over the course of my career, and they've always gone through smoothly and nominally at a nominal expense, and without any siphoning off. The courts aren't doing anything but maybe $100 or $2 for filing fees. Attorneys don't charge that much for an estate. But
I have seen the horror stories. No, I mean, my family's
there are horror stories because there are abusive and predatory attorneys out there. And we do have, with respect to the larger estates, we have a very abusive and predatory government out there.
But I do want to warn people. One of the most predatory groups I've seen per capita is the fake patriots that are out there. I call them patriot mythology, and B-Crap discovered this. Maybe you can briefly mention it. Per capita, the most abusive thing I've seen, they will sit there and tell people they're setting them up a trust and steal their property. And I'm telling you, I mean, folks, let me tell you, the most dangerous thing out there is the fake patriot movement. These quote, usually they're not lawyers. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're lawyer wannabes, or they call themselves lay lawyers. One guy does. I'm just glad he doesn't wish he was smart enough to have been a brain surgeon. I only operate on my friends, just on weekends. But there's a lot of that, and I think a lot of it too originates with the government because they're the only ones that benefit from those things. And you've got a lot of people out there that are PAY patriots. That are in it for the business, and matter of fact, those will resist those of us who are actually trying to stop, this because they feed off of it.
Folks, I could name you.
The same thing though operates with a lot of guys out there selling so-called insurance and trusts to avoid the horrors of probate, and they're charging people $6,000, $10,000, $15,000 to avoid a $750 probate fee.
Yeah, I agree. Folks, watch out. Any charlatan that says, I'll get you out of taxes, let me be the trustee of the trust or my friend. I have watched him, and I've warned people in Austin. They never listen. They get ripped off, and these people all hate me. Boy, you wouldn't believe how much they hate me. But I will not sit here and watch their criminal activity. Let's go ahead and talk to Taylor in Florida. Taylor, you're on the air with our guest. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me, man. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for everything that you've been doing, everything that you do for your job on a daily basis. You're a brave American who stands for everything Americans should. Second of all, thank you, Tommy. I really agree with what you're saying about the consolidate. What we really need to do right now is I really have a question. My question is, what we really need to do, first of all, is the spread of information is going. Like, people are definitely becoming aware, and the scary thing is about it, though, is that who has the mass control of the knowledge of the popular opinion of the worldview of what's going on is now starting to catch on, and like what Alex has been talking about, and they have at this point, if people don't quit being scared of talking about it, because the thing is, people are awake, but people people want to live their lives. They don't want to.
That's right.
Up a new world order.
And the Trojan horses. I appreciate your call, Glenn Beck and others. They're going to falsely lead people into a false patriot movement. Do you agree, Tommy Cryer?
I do agree. I think that they want to lead us off. It's misdirection and disinformation, and what they're doing is keeping us off the real track. And basically, what Truth Attack is doing on the consolidation point that the caller made is that we're not trying to take over any movement or anything. All we're doing is saying we're the cavalry, support us, and what we do is take the offensive step, and our object is to take the government, put it back in its box, one tentacle at a time.
And you know a tree by its fruits. You know a tree by, and you and Larry